Knife Reviews. I'm Joshua Hightower, your host, and this is our production manager and crew chief, Evan Hightower.
Hey!
So for the last 8 months that I've been doing the knife reviews, I have gotten probably, I don't know, 300 or 400 different requests from people to do a certain knife review or whatever it is. And the one that actually keeps coming up, maybe not the most, but really high up there, is actually a really nice knife that wouldn't necessarily be considered a bushcraft knife,
Cool.
but it has really been, it's had a resurgence and kind of morphed into a bushcraft knife, especially for budget conscious people. And that would be the old hickory knives. These are two examples of the butcher style hickory knives, old hickory. They also come in several shapes and sizes, and these are just the two of the ones that I have in my collection. I have probably 20 different old hickory knives, and they're all really, really neat. They've been doing it for a couple hundred years, and they do it really, really well. Okay, the old hickory knife that we're going to do today is out of the Ontario Knife Company forge, made in the USA. You can see the stamp on there, right there. Made in USA, then it'll have old hickory on the handle. You can get these in like kits of all the different styles that they have for deboning, butchering, all kinds of good stuff. This is a very solid knife with a very simple handle. I think this probably cost $10.
10.
Now, the knife itself is made out of a 1095 high carbon steel. It's about 11 3/4 inches long, with a 7-inch cutting edge on this one. Obviously, you can get them with countless numbers of different shapes and sizes, but this one is 1095 high carbon steel. It has an HRC between 53 and 58. It obviously is a flat grind, just a plain handle. As with all of our bushcraft knife videos, we're going to do six.
Fire too.
Yeah, we're going to go through 6 classifications. It'll be batoning and chopping, and then we'll go into feather sticking, then cutting, then spine scraping, and then ferro rod usage. And the last one is the fit and finish and my review of it. So as you can see, it batons very, very well. There's no nicks or dings in it. And it really went through that pretty well.
Yeah, dude. Stop.
The batoning ability on this, you know, matches, yeah, it's pretty good. Matches, you know, any really expensive knife, especially if you take care of it and you pay attention to what you're doing. You can use that for an incredibly long time. And if you never wanted to, you never have to buy a new knife if you wanted to, based on its batoning. All right. So once again, there's no nicks or dings in it. It chops okay. The issue that you'll find is that if you're not really tight with your grip, you have to hold it really hard, or excuse me, really tight, because if you're, you know, getting a good swing on it and you don't have it tight and you let that natural wobble kind of get into your swing, it's flexible enough that it'll bounce right off. So you have to make sure you keep a good tight grip. And if you're using, you know, the top 3 fingers and using a swing chop on it, you have to keep those 3 fingers tight. If you're using a fist grip on it, still have to keep it very tight. So for overall chopping and batoning, we'll give this a 7 out of 10. Okay, so feather sticking, it does a pretty good job. No complaints there at all. So it does a perfectly fine job, and what I like about this method is that you can get very long feather sticks that are very good at maintaining or building up a flame. So for feather sticking, we're going to give it an 8 out of 10. As you can see, I've made just a little tiny spindle for a bow drill kit. One of the things that I'm finding with this knife is that it tracks well. And what I mean by tracks well is that you're able to manipulate the knife to make very precise cuts. And it stays on that track or that line and follows it all the way down, so you can get these really minute pieces of shavings of wood off. And if you can see that on there, you can see little tiny pieces coming off. And what that allows you to do is to make really precise cuts. Stay back. Stay back. And as you can see, that's just slicing right through it. I want to give this an 8 out of 10 for cutting.
Can I have this?
So as you can see, you did a very good job of peeling that bark off. And what I like about it is it actually peeled it off in a way that it was kind of powdery. And that makes it really easy to catch a spark and start your fires with. So for spine scraping, we're going to give it a 10 out of 10. as you can see, it does pretty well with striking a ferro rod, but the end test is if it can do what?
Cut that.
What should it be able to do?
Cut the file.
Make a
File.
Yeah. So we're just going to do a real quick thing. My son has been bugging me pretty much non-stop about making a fire with steel wool. That's kind of his favorite technique, I guess, for making fires. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a try, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so ferro rod usage, it does really well. We're gonna give it a 10 out of 10 on ferro rod usage. Obviously, you're dealing with a very cheap knife. So the fit and finish is not the most pressing desire they have when they're designing and building this knife. What you're gonna notice right away is that this is not a very comfortable handle. Now you can change the scales if you want, and some people, well, a lot of people actually change the scales out on that, and it might be worth it because this is a really nice knife. In fact, this knife itself I use to process a squirrel about a week ago, and then last week process a deer that had been hit on the road. The one thing that I have noticed about it is that I'm getting a really good hot spot. It's creating a blister, and that's just because of how it, it's just not a very good shape of a handle. So for fit and finish, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. We want to thank you for sticking around, staying involved, sharing the videos, and we would appreciate if you'd continue doing that, continue supporting the channel, and liking, subscribing, sharing the videos, going to our channel and watching all the other videos. Stay safe and God bless.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Ho, ho, ho.